According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 67% of Americans aged 20 years and older are considered overweight or obese. Unfortunately, many Americans today are overweight and unhealthy. Proper nutrition and exercise could greatly change that. You might be wondering if you are considered overweight. One tool used to determine if someone is overweight is the BMI equation. BMI stands for Body Mass Index. It's a person's weight in pounds divided by their height in inches squared times by 703. For example, if you have somebody that is 120 pounds and 63 inches, you take the 120 pounds and divide it by the 63 inches squared, which is 3,969. You end up with 0.03, and then you times it by 703, giving you 21.09, which is their BMI. Then you take that number and you look at the BMI scale. Since that number was 21.09, they fit into the normal range. BMIs below 18.5 are considered underweight. Between 18.5 and 24.9 is considered normal. 25 to 29 is considered overweight, and 30 and above is considered obese. The BMI scale is not always the best indicator of who is overweight, though. You could have two guys that are the same height and the same weight, but one has a huge pot belly and the other is all muscle. I'm going to tell you about the growing number of Americans that are overweight and unhealthy, how they became that way, and what needs to be done in order to fix it. Being overweight can cause psychological problems. Studies show that depression has a high correlation with being overweight. This is thought to be because of stress hormones. Physical activity reduces the amount of these stress hormones, and so when you aren't active, you're accumulating stress hormones. So it makes sense that the accumulation of these stress hormones, because of lack of exercise, will leave you stressed and depressed. Being overweight often creates a low self-esteem, because when people look in the mirror, they're not happy with what they see. Being overweight can also cause various health problems. According to the Harvard Heart Letter, type 2 diabetes is most often develops in response to excess weight or lack of physical activity. Too much body fat can lead to cardiovascular disease, which is abbreviated as CVD, meaning any disease that affects the heart, veins, arteries, or capillaries. Examples of cardiovascular diseases is hypertension, which is high blood pressure, atherosclerosis, which is hardening of the arteries, and a cerebrovascular accident, which is another name for a stroke. And that's when the brain doesn't receive enough oxygen or when a blood vessel in the brain bursts. Coronary artery disease is another one, and it refers to any condition that reduces blood flow and nutrients to the heart. Too much body fat or lack of physical activity can also make it harder to sleep. Sleep apnea, which is difficulty breathing while sleeping, is a common problem amongst overweight people. It can also cause death. Many sedentary people aren't able to fall asleep fast because their bodies don't think that they need the rest. And sedentary is when people are not physically active. It's very easy to get caught up in the craziness of life and forget about exercising and eating right. There are many reasons why people are overweight and unhealthy. We tend to have very poor eating habits. We like to eat fatty, salty, and sugary foods. Abnormal amounts of cholesterol may be stored throughout the body if fats are eaten excessively. If you consume too much sugar, the body reacts by storing the excess sugar as fat. And diets containing too much salt results in high blood pressure. So all of those types of foods are not healthy options. One obvious reason for being overweight is simply overeating. People tend to snack throughout the day when they're bored or not even hungry, and that just adds up the calories. Studies show that skipping breakfast can also cause you to gain weight because when you eat breakfast, it kicks in the metabolism. So when you don't do that, you're not kicking it in. Many people also eat out several times a week, going to fast food places such as Taco Bell, Wendy's, McDonald's, and these places simply have a lack of healthy options. They're loaded with high-calorie foods that are packed with sugar, fat, and salt. People also do not get enough physical activity or regular exercise. Time is often an issue when people try to work out. Many people say that they're too stressed to exercise, and often people don't have enough energy or motivation to exercise. They just don't feel like doing it. In order to fix the problem of being unhealthy, efforts need to be put in to make the necessary changes. It's never too late for people to decide to live a healthy lifestyle. Having a balanced diet is very important. It's important to start off the day with a good breakfast, including a serving of whole grains and a serving of fruits. Simply cutting out sugary drinks throughout the day, such as sodas and lattes, can also greatly reduce the caloric intake. It's important to eat foods that help to lower cholesterol. Nuts, beans, fish, soy, citrus fruits, and oats are all foods that lower the cholesterol. These foods contain omega-6 fatty acids, which are proven to being beneficial in lowering cholesterol levels. Exercising regularly is very important. It can help to improve many pre-existing health problems, such as reducing blood pressure, lowering the risk of cardiovascular disease, and it improves bone and joint health, and it creates healthier and stronger muscles. It also helps to get rid of dangerous belly fat. Exercise can also help with psychological problems. Studies show that regular exercise can improve mood in people with mild to moderate depression. It also reduces stress. Studies also show that it helps improve memory problems in older people, and it improves sleep, like we talked about before. It can heighten the sex drive, and it helps you to overcome PMS. And ultimately it leaves you with more energy. There are many easy ways to exercise. You can simply go for a walk. Doctors recommend to their patients that they should keep a pedometer and track how many steps they get in a day. And they say that you should get in at least 10,000 steps a day. You can make many simple changes to increase the amount of steps you take per day. For example, parking far away in the parking lot or taking the stairs instead of the elevator. You can also go for a jog or a run. A general rule is that for every mile you run, 100 calories are burned. You can also go for a swim. And swimming is a great way to exercise because it's easy on the joints. Bicycling is another example of exercise that's easy on the joints. In conclusion, most people in America are failing to maintain healthy lifestyles, leaving them overweight and at risk for all sorts of health problems. This is from living sedentary lifestyles and having a lack of proper nutrition and poor eating habits. However, it's never too late to make the changes and start living a more healthy life. By adjusting our lifestyles, we can change the statistics in America and ultimately improve ourselves as human beings.